What's going on, guys? We're back. Somebody say a word. I don't care who. I want to make sure I can hear you guys.
Hello.
Fuzzy pickles.
The best kind of pickles. Okay, cool. We're all making noise. It's great, and we're here today for another episode of Tales from the Greenwich Colonies. In Pathfinder 1.6, as I'm going to turn this over to Ross, I'm going to go pick a couple of cantrips because this is a Gestalt game, and I need to pick me a cantrip for my sorcerer. But before we do that, of course, Josh and Jason and Ross, thank you guys for your support on Patreon. Levi, thank you for... Did you remember your harmonica?
No.
You coward.
I'm sorry.
Coward! You coward!
Hell.
All right.
Oh.
I'm full of great anger now. This session is ruined. Oh, that'd be fine. But thank you for hanging out and showing up. And I saw him with his webcam on last night. I did. I have seen the top.
That must have been terrifying.
Kind of looks like Andrew Armstrong. Not gonna lie.
Huh.
Anyway, enough rambling.
Adam disagrees, but
Adam is a coward as well. All right, Ross, shut me up. I've talked for too long. I'm getting dangerous.
I mean, you know, it was enjoyable enough, but hey, everybody, welcome back to Tales from the Greenwich Colonies, our little Pathfinder 2e playtest Gestalt game, where for those of you guys who are curious, yes, we have updated to 1.6, and the various members of the group have made their changes and all of accommodations to their characters. Well, all except for Tommy.
Right now, I just need a cantrip. 2 cantrips. Okay.
Sorcerers didn't exactly get the biggest update, and I don't think any of your druid stuff really changed either since your Order of the Storm.
Yeah, Storm Druids didn't get anything. Really, the big showboats here are literally everyone who isn't me got huge updates. So
Everyone who isn't you.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Wizards one wasn't all that big.
And some of us got a nerve.
Yeah.
So yeah, rip Barbarians.
I think
Yeah,
it's a
once
step in the
again,
right direction. I think we just need to commit a little farther. Because it's just like you can lose it in the second round. And when our barbarian is turning into a were-ape and punching things, and he loses that out of rage, right, that sucks.
Then the Paladin comes in and makes everyone feel bad about hitting his friends.
Yeah, that is a thing. So is
true.
Elu still gonna laugh? That's a legitimate question I have.
yes, that definitely is intended to happen.
Okay, good, got it. Oh, I feel bad now. He's laughing. So it's not like neutral good redemption. It's neutral good. Man, that dude's laughing at me. I feel bad about everything. I quit life.
But yeah,
Well, that's why you feel bad about it, but the sheer pain of my laughter.
so with all that said and done, everybody is ready to go. Today we are unfortunately down one delightfully alcoholic dwarf.
Bowser's passed out right now. He's in the corner.
Both like IRL and in game is just passed out somewhere.
When you gotta
We'll
drive
get to his little
hours forever. That definitely, I get it.
Yeah, no. But with all that said and done, last I checked, you guys were just getting ready to do some side quests, some chit-chatting. Last couple of sessions was you guys just getting used to town, as our last few sessions have been determined to be anything but productive, seemingly. Literally could condense the last 2 sessions into one, and we would not have lost anything.
And we also wouldn't have been almost killed to death by elementals, so I call it a win.
Last 2.
Yeah.
That was the 3rd one before that.
Fair. They come in a different order.
Last 2 was just IRL messing with us.
Yeah, that's fair.
Why do I keep looking over to this direction? There's nothing over here. Okay, then.
Ghosts!
So, last we left off, you all had managed to kind of cement why everyone would be working together, why they're going X, Y, Z, the backstories, the quests, the general party bonding that is necessary to operate at a basic operational function outside of, oh god, let's not die, oh god, no, please no, why, is,
Everybody figured out what I'm fighting finally.
a giant chicken.
Yeah.
A giant...
It's a little more than a giant chicken, I think.
Ah, hush you. It's a giant chicken.
Okay, fine, it's a giant chicken, you win. God. Voice in my head.
Now this gets me the question of, can I throw a baby Jabberwocky at you guys, and that you guys think that's the giant chicken, and then throw the real one at you?
I mean, our chances are much better. At level 2.
Until the mom comes along.
Yeah.
Then I might have to give it barbarian levels just to make up for that.
Good. So it's beatable. We just wait till it's tired.
Oh,
Sick burn, Tommy.
coup de grace doesn't exist anymore.
It
sadly.
doesn't. It sucks. It's not in Kingmaker either. Hold person's real bad in Kingmaker because you can't coup de grace after.
Oh well. But
Indeed.
with all that said and done, you guys were all
Why'd
going.
you tell me that, Tommy? I just create a lawful evil character that has hold person.
Sorry, I failed you. Anyway, game.
See, this is what I mean by being productive.
We're all like, I've come to the point because like, there's a lot of money moves around the table at my Pathfinder games lately, and I'm definitely super honored about it. But you guys are also like my closest friends, so it's indicative of how
I bought your
things are
friendship. Let it be stated that I bought your friendship. That's how this works, apparently.
Kind of.
Let me roll a 1d4 with I'll make it interesting. PK will be 1 and Tommy will be 4. We'll go in reverse standard order.
Reverse standard order.
PK. I believe you were. Did you have something you wanted to do side story wise, aside from getting a bastard sword? Because you can just get your hands on one of those for standard book price.
Yeah, I've already bought and paid for all that. Like the bastard sword is paid for.
All right. Anything else you wanted to do?
Well, that depends. How much money do I have left? I have got 6 gold and 3 silver. That'll get me
How much?
I can do a lot of things in whatever Pathfinder Vegas says with that gold. I would like to go to the Fighters Guild or whatever a Fighters Guild would be in this town. And if that's not possible, I'd like to go to the barracks.
There is no Fighters Guild. As per a decree.
Elder Scrolls Oblivion.
Yeah, no. As per decree by the overseer of the city of Noctine, there are no fighting guilds, and no fighting shall be taken in place inside the city, save for self-defense against brigands, monsters, or any other things that would seek to do bodily harm to the average civilian, or in the case of being in the barracks and actively training for the militia.
Or in the case of, flying owlbears.
That's part of the whole active defense against monsters clause.
Yeah.
Sure, then I would like to go talk to the local militia.
All right then. With that, you would head up to the large stone building in the center of town, which is just lovingly referred to as the Keep, where you would see quite a few masons, some woodworkers, basic construction workers walking around, seemingly finishing up construction on it, as a few members sort of scale mail kind of patrol the area, watching over it. You would have had to just walk through the marketplace, so you're probably standing at like the outer edge of the marketplace. Behind you, people are just shouting like, "Buy a fish here! Fresh Harrington! Cold cut cod! Come get your fish!" Because, as per mentioned, it's today's the fish, like the today's market day sort of thing is fish. A lot of the fishing boats have come in today.
Okay, sure. Like while I'm heading up there, I want, if the biggest fish I can find, I want to that I see on display, I want to give 3 silver pieces to the guy or lady who has the biggest fish there is, and I'm gonna just eat it raw.
I was gonna say maybe Pisskicker's found his new weapon.
How much silver?
3 silver.
That will not get you the largest fish, which is actually like a half a foot long trout. It is massive.
Okay, how much would I have to pay?
You're looking more at a gold. This is like a proper delicacy.
Yeah,
Sure,
clearly,
I'll give him a gold and throw in the 3 silver as a tip.
Thank you, sir. The elven fellow just says behind it, kind of scooping up the coins.
And like I said, I basically am going to eat it as I'm going along. I'm just going to eat it raw as I go along to the Keep.
You do get some sidelong glances from people. Most noticeably, the guards do take a very keen eye on you, but no one actively moves to stop you. And as you finish up the fish, that's kind of when you break through the market in front of the Keep. So you're kind of just like, sort of.
Is there a place I could like throw the bones that I've got remaining?
roll me a perception.
Is there a ground nearby?
I mean, at the moment he's
let's
kind
see,
of walked on paved dirt.
Oh, fair.
Like cobblestone's kind of lining the
There you
place.
go, nat 20. That's how I like to start my day.
As you're
Remember
kinda,
when
like,
I was
looking-
talking about druids sometimes turning into fish?
Oh God, no.
Or would that be a
that was
natural
going to
one?
be a natural 1. That was going to be a natural 1. Natural 20 is there's just like a cart passing by that seems to be of various waste, and you just drop it in there as it passes in front of you. It looks like somebody was
Sure.
clean. It looks like maybe trash collectors for the other part of the town, trying to be clean about their waste. After all, Abadar does not stand by for idleness or discontent or anything of that nature. These people are super into Abadar. But yes. So with that, I presume you're going to walk up to the keep.
Yes, I am.
Do you just like walk up to the front door?
Well, I'd like to, if I see a guard, I'd like to walk up to them.
You do see a few guards standing near the entrance.
Okay, sure. So I'm gonna go up to them and I'm gonna wait for them to acknowledge me. And once they do, I'm going to say, "Hey, how would a fellow like me apply to be one of you guys?"
Well, there's a solid like minute or so of just like glances between two of them in front. At one point, one just kind of shuffles his feet a bit, just kind of like, and then eventually one says, "Can we help you, sir?"
So I say what I say. I'm like, how would a person like me become one of you guys? I've got some mercenary experience.
They all kind of look at one another, and then one says, just a moment, let me go talk to one of our commanders." And with that, he'll walk inside. There's kind of like 6 of them near the front gate. One of them will walk in. 2 at the front are wielding shields and wielding shields and spears. They kind of all are like hoplites from Greek times, sort of almost. Eventually, he comes back with a man in a nicer looking uniform, but still kind of. He's definitely not like a fancy person. He's more just like a sort of middleman. And he steps down, walks over to you. "Hello there, my name is Sergeant O'Connor, and you are?"
My name is Piss Kicker Perez, but you can call me PK.
Piss Kicker?
Yeah, it's a name that runs in my family from time to time. Basically, when a baby is born that looks like it would not only beat someone up, but kick the piss that comes out of them when they get beat up, they call him Piss Kicker. And I got that name because I came out real big and real strong and looking like I wanted to fight the baby next to me.
I hope you didn't, but
Well, of course
very
not. I
well.
was a baby.
Then why would you? Okay. So you were interested in joining the militia, yes?
Yes, I went to boot camp back where I came from, my hometown. Didn't work out so well. I just was a little too wild, but having worked as mercenary from time to time, that's enabled me to smooth out some of my rougher edges, so to speak. And as you can see by my build and my weapon, I assure you that I would make a good recruit, so to speak.
Sure. Let me be frank with you, sir. Why are you actively looking to join the militia?
Basically, imagine your biggest problem that you have in town or in this area. I'd like to go solve that problem.
Well, at the moment, our largest problem involves logistical analysis between the woodcutters in the outside of our city and the various stone quarries and issues of transportation via horse carts, as we do not unfortunately have enough livestock at the moment that is able to transport these goods we need for battlements and other issues. Forgive me, but I don't think that's a problem you're probably intending to tackle.
Well, not unless you strap one of those carts to me and I carry it.
Okay, then. Listen, sir, I don't think you're talking to the right organization for this sort of matter. If you wish to do the type of work that you're suggesting to me, I would advise you to go by and check some of the bounty boards throughout the town. Various jobs have been posted by the county seeking mercenary work. There are a few mercenaries in this town, so I imagine you could get a group together and go out and take care of it. You know, the average bandit quelling, monster hunting sort of deal. Why, there's one just right over there. He's just kind of pointing to a nearby board that seems to be like it's just freshly painted. It's probably just started getting used this week. That one, in fact, was just created a few days ago.
Sure. Well, thanks for the direction.
Of course.
And I'll walk over to the bounty board and see what's there.
All right. As you do so, there's just kind of like the camera just kind of like stays on the guards, and just like one's just like, "What was that?" And then we just cut back to you as you look over the board. On the board there are 3 jobs. They all seem to be very meh, sort of middle of the road. One is dealing with an infestation. Apparently, a nearby farmstead has been attacked, and sadly, as according to the reports, most of the people that lived in the farmstead beforehand have been turned into these ghoul-like creatures by some form of various parasitic creature that lives within this isle. They refer to it as a ghoul fly. It kind of turns the people into an almost undead-like creature. However, they are still living, and unfortunately not weak to the average sort of weaknesses that an undead would have. Just more so their behavior mimics that of an undead, with the most dangerous ones still being able to retain some knowledge of their humanity, including that of weaponry and training and any class levels. Aside from that, apparently there is a group of goblins that managed to sneak on board one of the various larger trading ships that came through here, and upon being found out, attacked and injured several guards before making off with a shipment of military supplies. The group is labeled as armed and dangerous, and it has been noticed that the first priority is to retrieve the military supplies, and there is an additional reward for every goblin ear given. Every goblin ear given, and there is a warning that they will be able to tell if 2 goblin ears are part of a match. Finally, there is a hunting mission, as a very large creature has been sighted in the area. Most witnesses have seen to kind of identify it as an amalgamation of various different monsters, similar in nature to how kind of the rest of the monsters in this world work. What's interesting about this last one is that it seems as though this request has not only been made on behalf of the Noctine Protectorate, but has also been requested in correlation with assistance from the Elderberries, or the Elderberry Circle, aka the Druid Circle to the northwest. But I don't think you know about that circle, because I don't think you were around when... Or no, you were. You talked to the barkeep, so you wouldn't know about that. So, long story short, ghouls, goblins, monster.
Sure. Is there anyone around I could ask for like something to write on so I could jot all that down?
The sergeant's still outside, kind of just talking to some craftsmen that have come up, kind of seeing this opportunity of him being away from his office to talk to him about various things.
Actually, maybe better would be just to roll a check to, see like if I could remember the details of all that.
Roll me a social check.
Social. Give me a society check.
He's stealing. He's
society.
stealing my language. Oh, never mind. No, he isn't.
11.
You would know, from past experience in this regard, that kind of like an intent of taking the job would just be like to take that flyer off the board itself. Because like eventually somebody will come by and notice, this banner's been taken out, and just put up like a new one.
So,
Sure.
so basically, it's like Final Fantasy 12 or Final Fantasy like Tactics Advance, that kind of thing, or like the Monster Hunter games.
Then I'll take all 3 down and go back, try to find the rest of the group.
All right, cool. Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's more so those of you that are more socially inclined would think that the militia doesn't think highly of mercenaries, but still uses them. Which, shocker there, I know.
Sure. Right. So I take the 3 down, and I'm gonna stash them away and head back to try to find the rest of the group so I can say, hey, which one of these would you like to take on?
Bowser follows with, and he says that he's not quite certain which one to do yet. If the goblins have stolen beer as part of the military supplies, he says goblins, but other than that, he's not certain. But yes, with that, I guess we're done with you for a moment. So then, similar rules before. Buff, you wanted to go talk to an individual, I believe.
Yes, Rickjaw or Rockjaw.
Rickjaw. Rickjaw.
And what I remember of him from when I met him moments before we ended our last session is he's a gnoll who appears to be blind.
Yes, so kind of backing up for those on YouTube land, because that was a bit of a special sneak peek for everybody
that
here
was
in Twitch
literally
land.
me just, we're still going, the stream button.
Oh.
So it got in. It's there. Twitch heard
Oh.
it.
Never mind. Okay, well, still, if multiple people heard it, then yes. Quick recap. One of the things you guys were mentioned about was that there was a potential sort of ranger / sort of outdoorsy person, older, experienced gentleman, who was one of the first people to kind of come to this isle and knows a lot of things about the area. It's specifically how to get to the elderberries circle could potentially be one thing he would know. And so I presume that's about where you were kind of asking around, because he was said to live in the northwestern part of the city, due to that being the most dangerous part of the city because, well, flying owl bears. And after some asking around, you'll eventually find him.
That sounds like the standard answer for anything. Well, flying owl bears.
Yeah, so eventually you just like come up to a shack, and as you're starting to approach, the door kind of creaks open and a very elderly looking gnoll man walks out. It kind of takes you back for a moment because you didn't expect to see a gnoll out this far north. Like, it's pretty cold, far from the savannah, and he's living in the middle of a city, for Pete's sake. Well, he's actually living as close to the edge of the city as physically possible, but I digress.
Yeah.
And as he walks out, he kind of just like, well, hello there, little one.
So as this thing walks out, the arcane spell I took, because Muden is a smarty pants. Well, he's a charisma and wisdom me pants, and knows better now, was message. I cast message. As like old man walking behind the dwarf, Muden puts his hand on Bryn's shoulder and just, what in the hell is that one? Is that a werewolf? Does it actually look like a hyena, or is it like a different kind of gnoll for like a
Yeah, it looks more like a hyena, but calling it a werewolf would not be a stretch.
Okay, fair.
Would I have had enough experience to know that this is a spell and the gnoll has not heard this?
I'm speaking in your mind, lad. I'll say that quickly, because as I put my hand on your shoulder, I feel you tense up a little bit, and I don't want anyone to die.
Okay, then with that statement added on, then yes, you do.
And Bearden with the save.
My response would be, no, it's not a werewolf. I am surprised to see one of these this far north. Let me talk to it.
You kind of just, at this point, as it starts to walk around, Mirden and both you and Bryn would be able to see very clearly from the way it's holding itself and its eyes. They're milky white. This thing seems to be blind. Yet it seems to walk down the kind of porch steps leading up to it, leading up to the porch of it with ease. And just says, "Well then, it's been a while since I got any visitors out this way. What's this? A dwarf and human. I haven't smelt that smell before."
Mirrodin will not take offense.
Would you be Rickjaw?
Aye, that's me.
Some of the townsfolk suggested that it would be good for me to speak with you about what happens in the woods around here. I'm of an outdoor bent, you might say.
Oh, yeah. A lot of these pansies around here are afraid to leave their little walls. Think that walking out in the woods will get you killed. I mean, if you're stupid, it'll get you killed, but that's kind of any wilderness. This place is just a bit quicker about that, I guess you could say.
Nature does not favor the stupid.
Indeed, indeed. Well, stupid kind of implies book learning, but, well, every bit of knowledge helps, I guess, in its own way. But come on, come in. If you're here to talk, then let me put a kettle on. He says, kind of turning around and walking back inside.
I'll follow.
Mirrodin will do the same.
As you guys walk in, you both kind of note in the corner lane there seems to be a very, like, an older greyhound. It looks like it's probably above a decade old. And as it yawns, it looks, kind of like seeing new people, kind of wags its tail a bit, yawns, kind of settles in. Bryn, this thing looks old, but it still looks like if it wanted to fight, it could very well fight.
Old enough to enjoy resting, not old enough to discount.
No. Yeah. That, in fact, as you're kind of looking at the knoll, you kind of get a similar flow as, even though he's blind, it's very clear he's probably using his other senses to get around. As he just, with ease, walks over to his kitchen and starts up a little fireplace, stirs the fire in a little fireplace, puts a kettle over it. I didn't get your names, by the way, gentlemen.
My apologies. I should have given our names earlier. My name is Bryn Tree Cutter, and the older gentleman here is named Mirrodin.
Mirrodin will bow.
Pleasure to meet you both. Forgive me for not asking. It's more my fault, really. I don't tend to remember people by name. I tend to remember them by smell. He says, kind of pointing to his snout. Kind of. Tends to be easier for me.
I would guess, and I would also guess you can tell more about us with your nose than most people would be able to tell with their eyes.
He kind of points the bottom point of his spear towards you and says, a learned eye, one that knows how to read folk.
Well, I will say my friend Mirrodin here has lived a very sheltered existence. You would be the first gnoll he's ever seen.
Oh, well, howdy there.
Mirrodin will
says,
wisely
kind of looking to you, Mirrodin.
Continue to keep his mouth shut and just nod again.
Word of advice. Don't suspect most folk like me to be friendly. Expect most of them to be deranged lunatics. That tends to be a safe word when it comes to seeing people like me out in the wilderness.
I will have to admit, I thought that it's unusual to find a gnoll inside the city walls that was not creating more trouble than it's worth.
I get that a lot from new folk. I was one of the first people to come up this way. I built my house before they started on this damn wall out here. At this point, it's just too stubborn for me to leave.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
I mean, somebody needs to handle the damn creatures that keep breaking down the walls.
Well, it was suggested that I speak with you to learn of the woods locally, perhaps even find a way to contact a local group of druids. Mirden here also is a member of their faith.
Oh, really?
I
What? Yeah, this is the first time you've seen a gnoll.
am not from around these parts, you see. I am curious though, have the monsters in this part of the world, have they always been so aggressive?
As far as I can tell, yes. And you must have really stuck in just one corner of one forest somewhere far, far away from most civilization. This is the first time you've ever heard of a gnoll, let alone seen one or anything of that nature.
That would be accurate, yes.
Well, do they have tea where you come from?
Do they have tea where I come from?
Yes.
Okay, well, I don't know. If they don't have knolls, maybe they don't
I would
have tea.
assume that that's like something that came like from like pre-Aslanti sort of like civilization, sort of like basics.
Fair, okay.
Like even
they have
before the
tea.
island became its own place. Well, then you're on for a good start. Yeah, a bit of an herbal recipe made from some of the local plants. Kind of pours out some cups for you guys. And before sitting down in a big old kind of leather-bound chair with a satisfying oomph.
So as I pull this cup up to my face, after seeing evil gods and things, Mirden is a little on the jumpy side. Here's a nature check. I'm gonna just like pull it up and maybe take like a little teeny tiny sip, like one in first edition would do to a potion. So that's a 22 to make sure like this is okay to drink.
I mean, at first you do detect kind of the standard tea leaves, but as you kind of like sort of bring it up to your lips, you do taste a ting of something, and you kind of back off for a moment, sort of like lick it around in your mouth a bit more before taking another sip to confirm it seems to be a concoction of some local berries brewed into the tea. You know, kind of, if you were to guess, that ting was probably a bit of blackberry right off the start.
Nice. I do enjoy blackberry tea, fair enough. Okay. Mirden will not hesitate to sit down and drink and make himself comfortable.
Yeah, the furniture is all worn. Everything in here seems worn, but handmade. It's very clear this man has made a very cozy existence for himself here.
Mm.
Question, would it be nature or perception to guess at what's in this, in addition to tea?
Nature, I'd say, is a bit more fair.
Okay.
Perception would be there's some tea leaves and there's some berries.
There's a bug in this! Anger!
Expert plus one, so... Okay. Making sure I throw the right modifier on it, so +4 to that. Yep, there's tea.
Yeah, there's tea in it. You also, once again, detect some berries. You do kind of sense like a blackberry, maybe a hint of blueberry underneath. It's kind of overshadowed by the blackberry. Doesn't seem to be anything other than that, just mostly tea with some berries mixed in.
Blackberry added to this?
Yeah, I didn't quite seem to get the ratio of blackberry and blueberry. Is that right? Pretty difficult business, really. You put too many blueberries in, it becomes too sweet for my liking. I put too many blackberries in, and it becomes a bit too bitter for my liking. I mean, this is still close enough to be enjoyable, but I can do better.
Seeing how the last tea I had was on board a ship, it tastes good to me for now.
Hi.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
Of course. It's only kind to welcome new friendly faces and comfortably.
So we hear tell of, in this part of the world, druids that take more than they preserve the balance. Do you know what I'm talking about?
He kind of coughs a bit as he's drinking the tea as you say that, and he says, So are those the druids you're looking for? Unfortunately, from what I know, they live outside of an area I've ever tracked, or traced, or even gone to. They're kind of in northwest. It's a bad direction to go on this island. The further northwest you get, the less and less natural things become. And that's already including the monsters that roam these plains. Those druids seem to come from that direction. That tends to be a common theme. Now, the elderberries and some other covenants, smaller circles in this area, but most importantly, the elderberry circle, does a fine job of making sure that they don't wreak havoc on the rest of the Isle. Good-hearted folk, they are true druids in that preserving the balance. But these... I do not know what to call them. They do not normally give themselves a name, but they do tend to leave a symbol of claws, trio of claws. Tends to be something around we call them.
I've also heard them called the blood leaves. The blood.
Ah, yes. I've heard of that. There's a very dark place to the northwest. It tends to be a statement you'll hear so many times while living in this isle you'll get sick of it, but this one is true. I lost a good friend on an expedition heading that far northwest, where the trees don't seem to have sap, but rather blood of some undisclosed species running through them. If any druid makes their home there, then the gods above only know what vile magics they must be using to preserve their circle.
Let's just put it this way. One of them I want to meet especially. I want to reintroduce him to this, and I will take my finger and tap the edge of my hatchet, because I'm pretty sure he'll be able to recognize.
Yeah, no, he recognizes the sound of like a weapon handle, and he kind of looks in your direction and says, "Careful, friend. Revenge is a good way to get yourself killed out in those woods." I'm not saying you're not justified in it, but don't let it blind you.
No, this is a long hunt. I will.
Fair.
In time. It's a bit hard because one of these took a newborn niece of mine. And
At that, there's a bit of a loud clank as the man puts down a teacup. Like, a bit harder onto the table. Leans back a bit. Actually, like, kind of snarling to where both of you see fangs that are still very sharp. I hate those that take the lives of pups.
There's no reason for them to do it. The balance is... How long have they been on this island unchecked?
Unchecked? I don't know. In check, 5-6 years. It wasn't until the Elderberry Circle properly got founded that we didn't have to worry about druids actively attacking settlements. Once the Elderberries were set, and they started to gain control of the local wilderness, things became much more stable. Good folk.
As it would. And you can take us to them.
Would you consider taking us to them?
The problem isn't can I take you to them. The problem is will they receive you? I know the way. Even in my older years, me and Wretched over here, he's just kind of looking to the dog, can get you there. The problem is the druids need to be receptive of you.
Would they have any reason to not want to take in one of their own? And as I ask that, here's a Lore of the Green Faith. So it's a 16. I ask you.
You don't understand. Yeah. As you're kind of asking that, you don't think of it, but he kind of says, if it wasn't for the fact that they're fighting their own, they normally would not even bat an eye to the idea of the druids, another druid joining them. But you must understand, these blood druids have been very apt to using even the most underhanded of tactics to get what they want. My advice is they often, time from time, ask for help with dealing with local monsters and other things that they themselves cannot deal with due to various issues. Do a few missions around town, do some mercenary work, do good by the people around here, and word will come that you are good folk. You seem to be good enough folk for me, and, well, making a good impression with me will help you get in the door, but I am but one voice they listen to when it comes to working with new people.
Carson, here we are, strangers to your island. It makes sense, though. We do good. We tip the balance farther in our direction. Of course, they'll see us. I'm sure they've already heard Elu, to say nothing of old Bowser, wherever he's ended up.
There was a dwarf on our ship who we have some common cause with. He's very fond of drink. You may have heard him singing.
Even though the eye doesn't work, there's just an eyebrow raised on the knoll. Very well. You feel free to bring your friends by sometime. I do enjoy guests. It's not often that I tend to have visitors come over. Very rarely do the human pups and them around here come and visit me, even though they know I'm perfectly safe. I do not blame them for being scared of me.
If I may be of use to you, let me know.
I will happily, friend.
Again, you'll know where to find us. Most of us aren't particularly quiet.
Understood. Well,
It dawns on Mirrodin that's relevant. I cast Detect Magic. I can only cast it as a cantrip right now. I can't heighten it, so I only get the presence or absence of magic. Does anything ping?
The spear does.
Okay. So it's worth noting now that I can't, until I heighten it to 5th, I don't know what pings. I get X or Y. And Mirrodin is going to get into the habit of, as we're walking, it's stride detect magic, because I can't pick up specifics, but if there ends up being like a polymorphed druid who is real small, or is like a bird or a like cat or something that we're not aware of, that should at least like be enough of a buffer.
To help.
In theory.
How far does Detect Magic go out?
That's 30 feet, I think. Yeah.
Alright, makes sense.
So 30 foot
Just
aura.
making sure. Yeah, no. The spear is faintly magical.
Okay.
Well,
I think we've bothered the man enough.
No. I was just about to set out to the market. It's fish day, and I've been craving some good seafood. It's kind of hard to fish without eyes. The sea makes too much noise.
What
And there's no
if I may
good...
ask?
With my eyes?
With your eyes, yes.
Old age and disease. Not many folk around here know how to treat gnolls for various diseases. We're kind of similar to most humanoids, but a bit different.
All right.
And I've been offered by some of those with more advanced healing powers to get it removed, but at this point, I'm just used to the snout. Plus, if anything else, tends to make fools underestimate me.
Fair point.
We will take up no more of your time.
I'd be happy if you take up all the time I have left. I got nothing much to do. But I understand the need for you to go and seek out the goodwill of these druids.
Well,
have a good one. He says, kind of like offering his hand to you as like a shake.
I grasp it.
It's still firm.
Yeah. I figure that this guy is more than capable. He probably... I just get the feeling he probably could beat me in a fight.
Yeah.
Unless I started at range.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially,
even
Or crit, and suddenly you're throwing 4d6 plus your weapon at the table, Mr. Stalker Ranger. Or not Stalker, Mr. Precision Ranger.
Such things happen.
Such things happen. Oh, you sound so sad about that.
These things happen.
Well, before he walks off completely, you did mention that perhaps that they were seeking help with a beast. Where would I find more about this? I have hunted, not here, but...
There are bulletin boards around town that people tend to post up jobs, mostly the militia and the city officials, and occasionally the druids also get into contact with them through their channels. just seek it out. There's a few around town, tend to be near taverns and other places that mercenaries would often congregate.
I think I can track that down.
Well, that is excellent to hear.
Again, if something comes up that you wouldn't mind having someone else walk the woods with you, let me know.
Sure thing.
I probably could learn much, as these are not my woods.
That is a good attitude to have, young one. Take care. And with that, I presume you guys split off.
Yep.
And so, yeah, we'll cut it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. And remember, if you're watching on Twitch, we're running all 3 hours. This game is running Tuesday nights, 6 to 9 Central Time. Gets uploaded to YouTube Sunday morning. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We'll see you next time. Say bye.
Bye.